Well, after a week-long hiatus for both teams, Nebraska and Wisconsin are both back in action today at Pinnacle Bank Arena as they get set for yet another game of Big Ten basketball here on BTN Plus. So glad you could be with us today on this Sunday afternoon in Lincoln, Nebraska. Zach Penrice alongside Matt Reynolds. And Matt, big game today for both sides. For Nebraska, they're coming off that loss last Sunday to Maryland, a tough loss right here at home. And for Wisconsin, they're just trying to get back to winning ways.
Well, Nebraska wanted to get right back on the floor after that Maryland loss. It was their first loss in 6 games, and Amy Williams told me on Friday that the team wanted to just get back and play the next day, but sometimes due to scheduling, you got to get on that bye week. Both teams coming off a bye week, and it'll be interesting to see if both teams are fresh and ready to go to get back to winning ways, as you said today.
And a game like today for Wisconsin and Nebraska could come down to something like 3-point shooting. And for Wisconsin, they've got a good one. Suzanne Gilreath could be the difference in this game. She comes off the bench, and she provides a spark.
Suzanne Gilreath, the smallest player on the floor at 5'4". Nobody told her that, Zach. She is absolutely lethal from the outside. Led Wisconsin in 3-point shooting a year ago. Actually set a Badger freshman record for most made threes in a season. And she'll be an important spark plug off the bench for a team that needs some good three-point shooting.
Yep, Gilreath with 55 three-pointers made last year. That was Wisconsin's freshman record, so outstanding three-point shooter. Nebraska defensively will have to key in on her. And on the other side of things for the Huskers, they're all about Taylor Kissinger. She also comes off the bench but averages over 10 points per game. What makes her game so special?
Well, it's interesting. It's an interesting dynamic with this team because Taylor Kissinger actually started the season as a true freshman, starting games. So she started the first 7 games until a knee injury sidelined her for 6 games, but she is absolutely lethal off the bench and is an important three-point shooter, the consensus top 50 national recruit out of Minden, Nebraska, and still shooting 38% from the outside. Expect Amy Williams to maybe use her in a bit of an offense-defense situation, maybe late in this game. They have the luxury to do that when they need her as an offensive spark.
Nebraska has won 5 of their last 6 games, and they'll try to keep that going, while Wisconsin will try to come into Pinnacle Bank Arena and rob the bank here on this Sunday afternoon. It's Nebraska and Wisconsin coming your way next on BTN Plus. Back at Pinnacle Bank Arena as we are just moments away from getting started between Nebraska and Wisconsin. So glad you could be with us on this Sunday afternoon in Lincoln, Nebraska. Pinnacle Bank Arena, Zach Penrice alongside Matt Reynolds. Thank you all so much for joining us today. Matt, just a few moments away from getting started in this one between Nebraska and Wisconsin as you take a look at today's starting lineup, starting with the visiting Wisconsin Badgers. Kendra Van Leeuwen, Marcia Howard, Nia Beverly, Kayla McMorris, and Courtney Frederickson on the other side of things for Nebraska. Hannah Whitish, Nicia Eliley, Maddie Simon, Kate Kane, and Jasmine Sincor. Same starting lineups as usual for both sides. And Matt, a few key starters today for both sides and some keys to the game that you're going to be looking at.
Well, one key starter for Wisconsin I'm looking at is Kayla McMorris. Actually reached 1,000 points on a layup in the middle of that Ohio State game. So 1,000 career points for her, and definitely a scoring threat, leading the Badgers in scoring with 13.7 points per game. She'll be matched up on the other side against Nebraska's best defender in Jasmine Sincor. Sincor all season has been locking down some of the best guards in the Big Ten, whether that be Ohio State's Kelsey Mitchell or Michigan's Caitlin Flaherty, and she's done a very good job. So Nebraska's best defender and senior leader in this starting lineup, it'll be her job to lock down McMorris.
Nebraska comes out in their home white uniforms, Wisconsin with the road reds. Nebraska will be moving left to right, Wisconsin right to left. It's Kate Kane and Marcia Howard meeting at the middle as the tip is controlled and won by Kate Kane, and back with Hannah Whitish. Huskers start with the basketball, moving left to right. It's with Whitish, she's probing on the outside. Now go to the right side for Simon. Looking down low for Kane, nothing doing. She'll leave it off for Ililey, still looking for Kane down low. Plenty of time still to shoot. Now they finally go down to Kate Kane. The ball's tipped away for a moment, though, by Howard. It will stay on this end with the Huskers.
Good start by Howard on the inside. You watch how she repositioned herself behind Kane and not allowing Kane the baseline.
So Whitish will inbound with 11 to shoot for the Huskers. Gets it into Sincor on the far outside. Thought about pulling up. Now she picked up her dribble, dishes it off to Kate Kane. Turnaround J is good. Kate Kane on the low block, getting the Huskers started. One possession, one bucket, 2-0.
Right-handed baby hook, and it took almost that entire shot clock, but Nebraska getting things done on the inside. If they can get that post presence going, it opens things up for the whole offense.
Van Leeuwen with a nice dish off to Marcia Howard, and Wisconsin responds on the other end.
Howard sneaking in on that left block. Nice play.
Huskers going the other way. Both offenses starting with a bucket. This is Whitish. Now Sincor looking for a screen from Kane. She got it. Goes left side all the way to the hoop. Puts it up. Shot no good. And then it hits off of Sincor. She was standing on the baseline, so that's out of bounds off of Nebraska. It's going back to Wisconsin.
Yeah, it looked like Sincor was just trying to force one up there against Fredrickson. Bit of a mismatch for her. Sincor standing at only 5'11", trying to drive in here. And a nice defensive play, nice discipline by Fredrickson.
So on the other end, and that end now, it's with Michaela McMorris. Now top of the key with Van Leeuwen. Now Marcia Howard working up against Kate Kane. Now she's in trouble, has to get rid of it now. Close to a 5-second call, finally gets rid of it now to the far side for Van Leeuwen, who pulls up for a shot, will not fall. Rebound goes to Liley, Huskers in transition.
Huskers have been very good in transition this year.
Whitish goes down low, finding Maddie Simon, who goes up and she's fouled on her way up, so she'll head to the free throw line for the first foul shots of the day as we get a look at this again.
Nice entry pass, good find by Whitish right there. Simon had a lane right there. It looked like maybe a clean block. McMorris wanted the no foul call there.
Simon, one of the better foul shooters on this team, an 80% free throw shooter, but she can't get the first to fall.
Nebraska's had some trouble shooting free throws down the stretch this year. Simon, obviously, one of the better free throw shooters, but that first one, always tough to get to go.
Hits the second, so she splits a pair. And yeah, Nebraska, they're dead last in the Big Ten in foul shooting. They're 327th nationally, so that's something where they've struggled all season long.
Amy Williams kind of messing with the media on Friday, saying that they do, in fact, practice free throws.
Not their strong suit for sure, as Marcia Howard pulls up from the left elbow and knocks down the J. So Wisconsin with their first lead of the day.
Good start for Howard, versatile defender, obviously versatile on the offensive end, being able to slip behind all around that lane, elbow to block. Howard has done a nice job so far.
This is Whitish now with it, getting that screen from Kane, trying to probe down inside, puts up a wild shot with her right hand, can't get it to fall. It goes around the whole rim and won't go down. Here come the Badgers in transition, looking to extend their 1-point lead early in this game. It's with Howard. She's got all four for Wisconsin, trying to make it more as it hits off of Kate Kane's leg as it trickles out of bounds. It'll stay on this end with the Badgers. 7:37 to go. Kate Kane with the only bucket for Nebraska. Maddie Simon with a free throw as well, and it's been all Marcia Howard for Wisconsin. So on this end, Kayla McMorris is trying to go inside, and Nebraska hit with a foul there.
Yeah, that'll be on Sincor, and Sincor's first foul. The first what will be a mini battles between Sincor and McMorris. We'll chalk that first one up to McMorris.
That's going to be a matchup we'll be watching all afternoon as McMorris dribbles inside, and Sincor hit with another foul in about 5 seconds or so. And that's 2 quick fouls on Jasmine Sincor. That's not good for Nebraska.
Yeah, really unfortunate. But maybe Nebraska's second best defender coming in the game now, the impressive two-way player, Janae Morton, transfer from Eastern Michigan, and was an all-MAC defensive team player, all-MAC offensive team player at Eastern Michigan, and a great senior pickup for Nebraska.
So Morton checks in for Sincor, as going inside was Beverly, and she can't get the shot to go down, and instead it ends up with Nicaea Ililey, Huskers in transition, and a pass up ahead to Whitish. It can't be corralled, and it gets going out of bounds. Back to Wisconsin.
Sloppy play on the offensive end so far for Nebraska, not really getting into the flow of things. Only bucket coming from Kate Kane. Nebraska's 1 of 3 from the floor, and then their first turnover just right there.
We expected a highly defensive battle all day, and that's what we've gotten so far, is a nice feed down low by Fredrickson, finding Howard down low, and Howard has 6 for Wisconsin, all of their points, and they have a 3-point lead.
3 for 3 from the floor. Great start from Marcia Howard. 11.4 points per game, second leading scorer on this team.
It's Whitish with it. She just got it from Janae Morton. Now Morton will try a 3-ball on the other end, and it's good. Janae Morton knocks down the tray.
Offensive spark plug off the bench. Janae Morton coming in a tough situation and knocking down her first shot.
On the other end for Wisconsin, down low it goes to Fredrickson, trying to get control, and a wild pass is not controlled, out of bounds. That's Wisconsin's first turnover. It's going to the Big Red.
Good defensive sequence once again for Nebraska. Not getting too high off of that first 3-point make. Good discipline. Defense travels, Zach.
This is Whitish. Now Nicaea Ililey working around a screen from Kate Kane. Tough defense from the Badgers early on in this game. It's got a lot of energy on the other side. Now it goes down low for Maddie Simon. Shot up no good. Rebound corralled by Courtney Fredrickson.
This is a very good defensive team in Wisconsin when they want to be. They held Minnesota to their third lowest point total of the season. Pretty stifling defense when they win games.
This is McMorris with it. She'll try a long jumper, will not go down. It's rebounded by Kate Kane. Here come the Huskers trying to move quickly in transition. A long pass from Whitish up ahead to Eliley. Somehow caught by her on the end line, and they'll pull it back out and slow things down. Whitish thought about a three. She'll go to Morton on the other side. She'll try another three over there. Rattles around and does not go down. How close can you get?
In and out. The rim robbed her right there.
Beverly now for Wisconsin on the other side. All tied up at 6 apiece. About midway through the first quarter. On the other side, Howard goes up and is blocked by Kate Kane. Instead, though, it stays with Wisconsin. Ball tipped away. McMorris had a shot down there for a second, but she couldn't get it to fall either. And after a wild sequence down low, it stays with the Badgers. This is Van Leeuwen with it. Working around a screen, and now Kate Kane bumped her slightly
Yeah,
up at the top of the key.
I don't know about that one, Zach. Looked like a pretty good hedge to me. Just a tough situation with the ball handler right there. She was able to get around that screen, but a nice hedge from Kate Kane. She gets caught maybe just a little wide on that stance. Gets hit for the foul.
A few new Huskers checking into the game. Kissinger and Darian Washington are both into the game for the first time for Nebraska. Currently, though, it's with Wisconsin and Beverly, who goes all the way up and scores right around Janae Morton.
Beverly, a really impressive offensive player for the Badgers. Just a freshman. She's got quite a future ahead of her.
And Whitish making her 42nd career start tonight. Had the basketball, now it's with Morton. Now back to Hannah Whitish. Under 5 to play in the first quarter. Whitish drives up inside. Nice lob pass inside to Washington. Puts up a shot, and it's good. Darian Washington just checked in, and she scores on the first touch she gets.
Darian Washington has been so impressive the last 3 games now, just really figuring it out on the offensive end. She's always been an important defender for this Husker lineup, especially spelling Kate Kane, but she's finally figuring it out on the offensive end, and it started with that home game against Wisconsin a couple weeks ago. Illinois a couple weeks ago.
This is Caleb McMorris, pulls up from the left elbow. Shot just hits back iron, a little bit too strong. Offensive rebound, though, and Wisconsin gets a fresh 30 on the shot clock. Van Leeuwen will run the point this time around. 4 minutes to play, working up against Whitish.
Huskers doing a nice job with guard switches right now.
Marcia Howard pulls up from just beyond the free throw line and knocks down the jumper. Howard has 8 early points for Wisconsin.
Marcia Howard just all over the floor right now. Set to pass her average in the first quarter.
Goes down low to Grace Mitchell, and it's stolen away by the Badgers. They're running in transition. Slowing things down now is Beverly. Cross-court pass to Van Leeuwen. Long 3 ball for her, just hits the back of just hits the backboard. No iron there. And Nebraska's got it again. They're in transition. It's with Whitish.
They've got to get more players down in transition if they want to have success on the offensive end. Nebraska runs so much through transition.
Darian Washington goes up with a shot. No good there. Going for the offensive rebound was Kissinger, and it can't be controlled. It's with Wisconsin instead. Here's McMorris on the other end. Goes back outside, and they'll slow things down with Van Leeuwen.
Van Leeuwen really playing the floor general like fellow Wisconsin native Hannah Whitish does for Nebraska.
This is Howard. She has 8 early points for Wisconsin. Now it's with Van Leeuwen, who drives inside. She'll pull it back out. Only 5 to shoot here. Outside from McMorris. She'll try a 3 ball that just grazes the rim. And a long rebound brought in by Grace Mitchell in Nebraska.
Wisconsin finding a lot of ways to score right now, and this is very interesting to see because usually you don't see them have a whole bunch of success unless they're hitting from the outside. No threes so far for Wisconsin, but they're leading 10-8 against a really good Nebraska team.
Washington kicks it outside to Grace Mitchell, who drives baseline. Long pass into the corner for Kissinger. She'll drive all the way up to the rack. Shot no good. Rebound controlled by Wisconsin. Nia Beverly, and this has been a long sequence, Matt. We've been playing basketball nonstop for about 4 minutes here.
Exactly. They might not get to the media timeout before the end of the first quarter. Already down to 2 minutes left in this one.
On the right side now, this is Van Leeuwen. She's been that floor general early. Now it's outside with Beverly. She tries a long jumper that's no good. Rebound brought in by Hannah Whitish, Nebraska's point guard. She pushes the pace up ahead. Now outside for Morton. She hit the lone 3 in this game.
This is when you see how well-conditioned these teams are. Late in the season, tough first quarter to play consistently.
Hannah Whitish with it now, working up against Kendra Van Leeuwen. Battle of the point guards here. Whitish, long 3 ball on the way. No good, just hits the right side of the iron. Rebound brought in by Wisconsin. Nebraska's going one and done a lot here early on. No offensive boards for Nebraska, while Wisconsin has 3 of them.
Probably forcing up a few is Nebraska as well.
Nia Beverly with it, working up against Morton. Now it's back outside with Howard. Goes on a skip pass, and we've got a foul called down low. Away from the basketball, it's going against Nebraska. And that's Nebraska's third team foul, I believe, as we hit the media timeout here finally with a 1:11 to go in the opening quarter. Nebraska trailing Wisconsin 10-8. Stay with us. You're watching BTN Plus. Late in the first quarter, Wisconsin with a 2-point advantage over Nebraska. They have a 10-8 lead with 1:11 to go in the first quarter. Zach Penrice alongside Matt Reynolds here on BTN Plus. So glad you could be with us on this Sunday afternoon. And Matt, it's been all about Marcia Howard for Wisconsin early in this game. She's got 8 points.
8 of their 10, and what a start for her. Flawless from the floor. She missed one. I was mistaken. She's been very impressive from the floor, stretching this defense and scoring a lot of different ways.
Goes down low to the low block for Abby Lashensky, and she gets the shot to fall. You mentioned that one Marcia Howard miss in this game was actually a block by Kate Kane. So any shot that's gotten above anyone's head has gone in. On the other end, it's with Kissinger. Now Emily Wood, who just checked into the game for Nebraska.
Zach, we were talking about it earlier. Wood always the first one out on the floor warming up.
Goes down low to Darian Washington, and a 3-second violation is called. That's another turnover for Nebraska, going back to Wisconsin.
Third turnover for the Huskers, and just a mental error there by Darian Washington as she checks out. Rachel Blackburn checking in for the first time for NU.
The Nebraska scoring drought spanning nearly 4 minutes at this point. It's been a while since Nebraska's gotten to the score column here. They trail 12-8, under a minute to play in the opening quarter. For Wisconsin, this is Rochelle Marble, who we're seeing for the first time today, as well as Suzanne Gilreath with the basketball right here. She drives inside. Long layup falls way short. Didn't hit any iron, and the shot clock is turned off. Nebraska can hold for the final shot if they want to, but Lively goes up to the basket, puts up a shot, doesn't hit anything, gets her own rebound, goes back up, and the ball's taken away by Courtney Fredrickson.
Watch for some high screen action right here. Just 10 seconds left in the quarter.
This is this is Beverly. Now kicks it into the corner for a 3-ball by Marble that will not go down, and it's with Nebraska, and a long half-quarter heave is no good at the buzzer. And we've hit the end of the first quarter here at Pinnacle Bank Arena with Wisconsin leading Nebraska 12-8. Stay with us. Second quarter coming up in just a few moments. You're watching BTN. We're through one quarter here at Pinnacle Bank Arena with Wisconsin leading Nebraska 12-8. Zach Penrice alongside Matt Reynolds here on BTN Plus at Pinnacle Bank Arena. And Matt, today a special day here in Lincoln, obviously with the Play for K-Day, the Cancer Awareness Day. Obviously, all the Nebraska players wearing their pink shoes and whatnot to honor the Play for K-Day.
Yeah, it's a celebration around women's basketball every year. You see all teams do at least one home game every year as a Play for K-Day. A very cool celebration of cancer survivors and those going through the fight against cancer. And today, a lot of pink around the crowd and pink accents on the shoes. Just a very cool event.
Suzanne Gilreath was the one who knocked down that trifecta. We talked about her a little bit in the opening. She is the 5'4" guard from Brooklyn Park, Minnesota. One of the better three-point shooters in the Big Ten Conference. Knocks down her first trifecta of the day. On the other end, Nebraska really needing a response. It's nearly 5 minutes since they've scored. It's a Lively that pulls up for a jumper that's no good. Offensive rebound, though, for Nebraska is controlled and all about Taylor Kissinger, and it ended up being controlled by Rachel Blackburn. Nebraska gets a fresh 30 on the shot clock. Excuse me, Matt.
Kissinger has been the spark plug as far as offensive rebounding in these last several games. She's really stepped it up, and not just being that offensive player, but also being that offensive rebounder, crashing the boards hard and going after every miss.
Double dribble call there. That's another turnover for Nebraska. Their fourth early in this game. Wisconsin, meanwhile, has not turned the ball over yet in this game. So that's another big key factor in games like this where it can come down to something like turnovers. Wisconsin doing a good job early to take care of the basketball. Kendra Van Leeuwen with it. Now Gilreath, who just hit that three-pointer, Wisconsin's last trip down the floor. They've got their largest lead of the day at 7.
Wisconsin with a heavy scoring lineup on the floor right now.
Van Leeuwen with it, tries to go up and under, and Kate Kane denies her right at the basket. In transition come the Huskers as Lively was looking down low for Simon. She turned it over. Here comes Wisconsin on the other end.
Fredrickson has just been so good in transition defense in this game.
Thinking about a three was Van Leeuwen. Instead, she'll drive up and can't get the shot to fall, hit the bottom of the backboard, and Nebraska now coming the other direction. Back and forth action we go. Three ball on the way from Kissinger's just a little bit too strong. Offensive rebound brought in by Simon. Fans looking for a foul off of the rebound. Won't get it, though, and Nebraska kicks it back outside and will slow things down with Hannah Whitish.
Nebraska's got to get something going in transition. Just a rough offensive effort so far when the ball is in flux.
Trying to go down low to Kate Kane, and she can't control the basketball. Another turnover for the Big Red. That's their 6th already.
No turnovers for Wisconsin. That's a 7-point difference in this game.
Van Leeuwen with it. Now gets it over to Courtney Fredrickson. She'll try a long jumper that hits nothing, and that ball is actually saved on the inbounds by Marcia Howard. Swings it all the way around. Another three ball on the way from Gilreath. She knocks down her 2nd three.
Just as we said in the open, Zach, Gilreath, such a lethal three-point shooter, now 2 for 2 on the game. They get her going. Watch out.
Three ball on the other end will be tried by Maddie Simon. That's no good. Nebraska ice cold right now. Haven't scored in about 7 minutes.
And Nebraska hasn't scored since the 4:30 mark of the first quarter. About the longest drought we've seen this season for the Nebraska offense.
Fredrickson will try a three ball. That's no good. Rebound brought in by Kate Kane, but she's fouled by Marcia Howard. A push from behind, and it's going back to Nebraska. A few new Huskers checking into the game, as well as one new Badger. As Sincor is back into the game with those 2 fouls, and Janae Morton is in as well, and for Wisconsin, Kayla McMorris checks back in.
First time in over 10 minutes of gameplay that Jasmine Sincor has been back into this game, and maybe she's the offensive spark Nebraska needs. That senior leader, that floor general out there, really provides a big spark.
Remember, she got hit with those 2 early fouls in this game, so she's been on the bench for quite some time, but she's back on the floor right now, and Nebraska desperately needing a bucket. It is with Sincor right now. It's over right side for Simon, trying to go down low to Kane. She does find Kane, goes up with a shot, can't get it to fall, gets her own rebound, and the putback is good. Kate Kane finally breaks the cold streak for Nebraska, and they get into double digits for the first time today.
And that's what you didn't see from her early on in the season. Gliding around, getting her own offensive rebounds. She was clunky at times early in the season, but now just a really good feel for the game with all the minutes she's played this year.
Beverly Levitt, she'll get it over to Kayla McMorris, Wisconsin's leading scorer. Guarded by Sincor, gets around a screen, puts up a shot, and with the left hand, gets it to roll around and go down. There's Kayla McMorris right there for Wisconsin. Getting that 2-pointer to go in that leads back to 10.
Been quite some time since Nebraska has trailed by this much this early here at Pinnacle Bank Arena.
It's with Whitish outside Morton. She'll try another three ball, and she hits. Janae Morton knocks down the three ball. That's her 2nd today. It's 20-13.
And Zach, I think we both agree that she should be 3 for 3. Absolutely robbed on that 2nd one that rattled in and out. A good start offensively for Janae Morton.
This is Nia Beverly working up against Morton. Beverly goes left side looking for that screen from Howard. Gets it decked down to Howard. Puts up a shot, and it's good. Right around Kate Kane. Marcia Howard, give her 10 points early in this game.
Already in double figures. 5 of 6 from the floor. Marcia Howard really laying it in here.
This is Sincor working against Fredrickson. Now gets to the right side for Morton. Working on a screen. Why not try another three ball? It's good again. Give her 3 threes already in this game. She's 3 of 4 from downtown, and with 9 points, leading the way for Nebraska.
Somebody give her the NBA Jam Flame. She is on fire right now. Janae Morton, 3 of 4 from the outside, and feeling her stroke right now.
Nia Beverly on the other end for Wisconsin, guarded closely by Morton. Puts up a shot and gets it to fall. Nice runner in the lane, and in a good response there from Wisconsin. On the other end, a ball looking down for Kate Kane was Hannah Whitish, and the ball's tipped away out of bounds. And so it'll stay with Nebraska on this end of the floor. But with a timeout on the floor, Wisconsin leading Nebraska 24-16, 4:51 to go in the second quarter. Stay with us. You're watching BTN. Just 4 minutes and 51 seconds away from halftime here at Pinnacle Bank Arena, and Wisconsin leading Nebraska 24-16. Zach Penrice alongside Matt Reynolds here on BTN. And Matt, Wisconsin coming out of the gates early, playing good defense and really knocking down the threes.
Well, Wisconsin and Nebraska both have really started to pick up the offensive effort. Both teams, 3 of their last 3 from the field. And finally a much-needed break for these teams. There has been a lot of continuous play.
Sincor goes down to Kate Kane, and she gets the friendly roll as the shot goes down. The deficit is down to 6 now for Nebraska.
Kane now 3 of 4 from the field with 6 points. She's playing very well.
This is Beverly for Wisconsin. Gets it over to McMorris. Kicks it into the far corner. Thought about a three, did Fredrickson, but she pulls up and will put it back outside for McMorris. Goes down low for Leszczyski. And kicks it back outside for Fredrickson. Only 5 to shoot here for Wisconsin. They got to hurry up, and a left-handed shot will not go down for Rochelle Marble.
Great in and out defense that time. Better adjustment for Nebraska.
Whitish a three ball on the other end. Can't get it to go down, and the long rebound finally controlled as it bounced around down inside, and Wisconsin ended up with it. Here they come.
Pretty soon Nebraska will get a transition bucket. 0 fast break points for the Huskers thus far.
This is Leszczyski with it now, kicks it left side for Marble. Marble driving against Whitish, pulls up for the jumper. Can't get it to fall, just leaves it a little bit too short. It's back with Nebraska now. Here comes Janae Morton.
The old broadcaster jinx did it again as both teams were 3 for their last 3 from the field. Now they've gone ice cold from the floor.
Goes down low to Whitish from a pass from Kate Kane, and Whitish fouled as the ball got to her. Pushed from behind there. The second team foul against Wisconsin. Nebraska, no team fouls in this second quarter so far.
Nice back cut there from Hannah Whitish, getting in the lane, getting that opportunity to get fouled there. Nebraska will need to do more of those guard back cuts and slashing mentality if they're going to get ahead in this game.
That was McMorris' second foul, so she comes out of the game. This is Janae Morton with it. Lost it for a moment, regathers, and now it's outside with Whitish. Plenty of time for Nebraska with just under 3.5 to go in this second quarter.
Wisconsin playing Nebraska physical so far, something not a lot of teams have done.
Kate Kane pulls it from the free throw line and gets the shot to rattle home.
A little bit of an ironic make there for Kate Kane. Not a great free throw shooter, but makes one from a little bit longer than the free throw line. Maybe she should do that on every free throw.
She's got 8 points for Nebraska, their second leading scorer behind Janae Morton. Wisconsin trying to respond. They need it bad. This is Howard with it. Takes it back outside to Beverly, who will reset. Under 10 to shoot. Goes back inside to Howard. Hits Jasmine Sincor, and that's a blocking foul. I believe she was in the restricted area.
Fans won't like it, but the feet were inside that white arc right underneath the basket. As you can see right here, the entry pass, Sincor just misses getting outside of that arc. Good positioning, good defense, but the third foul on Sincor and a big one for Nebraska.
It definitely was relatively set, or so it appeared on that play right there. But yeah, the restricted area, that's there for a reason. So it can't get a charging call if you're in that area.
Yeah, not much of a judgment call once you get down there. It's pretty cut and dry.
So that's Nebraska's first team foul, and that's Sincor's third personal. So that's a huge deal for Nebraska as Wisconsin's trying to score here as it goes inside to Howard. She'll have to pull it back out though and slow things down. Beverly will have to reset the offense for Wisconsin.
We'll see how Nebraska's in and out defense changes without Sincor on the floor, likely for the rest of this half.
This is Beverly now outside with Fredrickson, pulls up for a jumper and knocks it down. Nothing but nylon for Courtney Fredrickson, sophomore forward from Minnetonka, Minnesota.
I've been very impressed with Fredrickson in this game. The transition defense on the inside, being able to stretch the floor. She tried a three, that was almost good, but there a long 2 goes for her.
This is Whitish with it, 15 to shoot, plenty of time for Nebraska. Kicks it outside to a cutting Lively, who goes up with the left hand, can't get it to go down. An offensive rebound though for Kane, can't get it. Another offensive rebound and finally finished off by Taylor Kissinger.
Kissinger with her second offensive rebound of the game, 3rd rebound overall. She has been all over the floor tonight. Hasn't hit a 3 yet, but really making her presence felt in other ways.
Back and forth we go. Both teams responding to one another. This is Gilreath with it. Dumps it inside to Howard. Now back outside with Beverly. Nice dish inside to Howard, who goes up with the left hand and scores. She ditched Kate Kane and made him pay.
Wisconsin on the slip screen so far in this game has just been so impressive.
On the other end, Nebraska trying to work quickly. Lively was trying to work it inside to Simon and was tipped out of bounds by a Wisconsin defender, so they'll stay with Nebraska on this side as substitution coming in for Wisconsin. Rochelle Marble's back in, checking in for Suzanne Gilreath.
The difference in this game so far has been post defense. Wisconsin has been so good at getting their guards down to the blocks and getting those deflections down there.
Lively with it, kicks it into the right corner for Kissinger, who drives up inside with the right hand, gets the friendly roll, and it goes down.
Such a tough matchup for any guard is the 6'1" Kissinger. She'll go against a lot of players that are shorter than her.
This is Kendra Van Leeuwen with it now, top of the key with Fredrickson. Gets it inside to Howard, backdoor cut. Ball tipped away. She was looking for Fredrickson once again, and it's a turnover for Wisconsin, and there's their first turnover of the day.
Much better collapse there from Kate Kane.
Kate Kane with it now. This is Eliley, under a minute to play in this half. Eliley, step back three on the way, no good. That would have been a big spark for Nebraska, could have made it a 1-point game, and instead Wisconsin's got a chance to extend their 4-point lead here late in this first half.
Badgers are 5 of their last 7 from the floor.
Rochelle Marble, top of the key, Van Leeuwen. Now left corner for Fredrickson, top of the key, back it goes to Van Leeuwen. 10 to shoot for Wisconsin, outside with Fredrickson. Back it goes Van Leeuwen. Not much going on in this possession for Wisconsin so far.
Somebody's going to have to pull up.
3-ball from Marble, no good, just a little bit too strong. Rebound brought in by Simon for Nebraska, and it's up to Whitish, and she'll slow things down. Nebraska will hold for the final shot. Instead, a foul there by Kendra Van Leeuwen, and
they have several to give.
Yep, they've got a few fouls to give. That's only their 3rd team foul, and in women's college basketball, you don't head to the free throw line until the 5th team foul, so they've got one more to give if they want to. I'd be surprised, honestly, if they don't do it.
The foul situation not really hurting Wisconsin right now. No player with more than 2 personal fouls. That's McMorris. She's on the bench.
So we'll see what they do. Here's Whitish. 7 to go. And another foul there is puts up the shot, and they do use that last foul to give as Rochelle Marble fouled it Whitish again.
Amy Williams pleading for the shooting foul right there. She won't get it. So with 6.8 seconds left, Wisconsin has no fouls left to give, and Nebraska has to work something very quickly, especially if Hannah Whitish is in the backcourt right now.
Eliley to inbound. It's with Hannah Whitish. With 5, with 4. Whitish now stumbles with the basketball. She's on the ground, was tripped up, and now a jump ball. No foul called on that play. It looked like Whitish was completely tripped up.
Amy Williams is not happy about that one.
This is still...
Jump ball brings the possession back to Wisconsin.
If this is a jump ball, it's going to stay with Nebraska, they say. Yeah. 1.5 seconds left. Whitish is going to inbound it here. Gets it inside to Kate Kane. Has to put up a shot. It's on the way, and it's no good. Kate Kane just hits the side of the iron in the backboard, and it will not go down. So the deficit for Nebraska at halftime is 4, with Wisconsin leading the Huskers 28-24. As we get a look at some of these first half highlights, it was a couple of big threes from Suzanne Gilreath, and on the other side for Nebraska, it was all about Janae Morton, who knocked down 3 trifectas in the first half. A 4-point deficit at the half for Nebraska, 28-24. Wisconsin on top. Second half coming your way in just a few minutes on BTN+. Just moments away from getting this second half started between Nebraska and Wisconsin, with the Badgers holding a 4-point advantage over the Big Red. Welcome back to this presentation of Big Ten basketball on BTN+. Zach Penrice alongside Matt Reynolds. So glad you could be with us on this Sunday afternoon. Matt, that first half for Wisconsin highlighted especially by Marcia Howard, who has had 12 points in that first half.
Yeah, she has been very impressive, and a very efficient clip from the floor for Howard. 6 of 7, really making things happen on the inside, stressing Nebraska in a lot of different ways.
And on the other side of things, Nebraska, they were 3 of 10 from deep in that first half. All 3 of those 3-pointers knocked down by Janae Morton.
Yeah, Morton is hot from the outside. Should have had a 4th one as well. That one in and out, just rattled out. But Janae Morton playing very well on both ends of the floor. Something to watch here in the second half, as she will come out and probably start the second half. Jasmine Sincourt, 3 fouls, and is indeed making her way to the court, number 34, right there in white. And she has 3 fouls, but she is the spark plug for this team, the senior leader for this team, and a veteran in this program that has really led Nebraska to a great record this year.
Another big takeaway from that first half was the number of turnovers. Nebraska had 6. Wisconsin, phenomenal job taking care of the basketball. They averaged 15 turnovers per game in that first half. They had 1. So they did a great job of taking care of the basketball in the first half. Let's see if they can follow it up. And Matt, you talked about this too a lot in that first half. Transition for Nebraska, they struggled a lot in transition in that first half.
Yeah, just no fast break points actually for Nebraska so far. And Nebraska works well in transition, a little inside-out game, but haven't been able to get that going so far. We'll see if they can pick it up in the second half.
Fredrickson with the inbound for Wisconsin, and we are underway in this second half with the Badgers, who sit with a 9-16 record, only 2 wins in the Big Ten Conference. They've got a 4-point lead over Nebraska right now. This is Van Leeuwen, now goes over to Beverly, back to Van Leeuwen, working down low for Howard, can't find her. Just 10 to shoot here for Wisconsin. Good defense early in this possession from the Big Red. This is Beverly. Gets it back outside, top of the key, Van Leeuwen. They got to get a shot up. Nope, that's a shot clock violation. And that's Wisconsin's second turnover of the game. They had one in the entire first half, and in the first possession of the second, they have another one.
Better defensive start in the second half for Nebraska. We saw Wisconsin go on a little bit of a run, hitting 5 of 7 shots at one point. But if you don't let them get up a shot, they're not going to make one.
Maddie Simon going down low to Kate Kane, and she lost the basketball. Another turnover for Nebraska, their 7th.
Yeah, Kate Kane worried more about position than catching the ball right there. Just a mental error.
Pass down low, it goes to Marcia Howard, who goes up and under Kate Kane and scores. She's leading all scorers in this game with 14.
Very nice post moves on the inside from her so far in this game. Obviously undersized next to Kate Kane, but has played very well.
This is a Lively with it for Nebraska. Goes down low to Kate Kane. Skip pass back outside Sincor. One more pass to the left corner for Simon. Drives left baseline. And she stepped on the end line. Another turnover. 2 possessions, 2 turnovers in this second half for Nebraska. It's going back to Wisconsin.
We saw Amy Williams start the second half sitting down on the bench, now up right away, urging on her team. Not happy with the results so far in this game. Now she'll send one to the scorer's table.
Nebraska down 6 points here as the ball almost turned over by Kayla McMorris. Wisconsin still in control, though. Now it's on down on the low right block to McMorris. Turnaround left hand hook shot is no good. Kate Kane with the board. Here come the Big Red in transition. This is Whitish. She'll slow things down over to Liley on the left side. Now it's with Kate Kane. Now Sincor. Now back with Whitish. Just about 2 minutes into this second half. Nebraska not on the score sheet yet in the second 20 minutes. Whitish, 3-ball on the way. No good. Offensive rebound, though, for Kate Kane. Off the glass and in. Kate Kane, another offensive rebound for her. She's now leading all Nebraska scorers with 10.
Kane now in double figures, and it's been so big to get her going in this game. 10 points, 8 rebounds, double-double watch once again. Has the only points, rebounds, blocks, triple-double in Nebraska history. Had that earlier this season against Florida Atlantic. She can fill up the stat sheet.
This is Marcia Howard. She's had the hot hand, and that continues. Pull-up jumper is good. She's got 16 in this game. Marcia Howard doing it all for Wisconsin.
Howard is now 8 for 9 from the field. All 2s, just so impressive. And the one she missed was blocked, so all shots have really gone in so far for her.
Hannah Whitish with the floater as she drove to the hoop, and she scores. Hannah Whitish, that's her first bucket of the day. The deficit's back to 4.
Now starting to trade buckets a little bit. Pace picking up in this second half.
Marcia Howard with the left hand, a little bit too strong. Offensive rebound, though, corralled by McMorris, and now a turnover by Wisconsin. Here comes Whitish up ahead, going down low. Another out-of-control pass.
And another great transition defensive play from Fredrickson. Courtney Fredrickson doing it all in transition on the defensive end.
This is Beverly now outside with McMorris. Wisconsin's leading scorer this year. Goes down low, dishes it down to Marcia Howard, who's been on fire today, and she continues to be. Marcia Howard, 18 points. Doing it all for Wisconsin. She's 9 of 11 from the field.
The junior just filling up the stat sheet right now. Just so impressive.
And now a 3-second violation by Nebraska. The second time they've been whistled for that today. Another turnover by the Big Red. That's their 10th already.
That's the difference in this game right now. 6-point margin, 7 turnover margin right now as Nebraska has 10, Wisconsin with just 3.
Wisconsin traditionally not great at taking care of the basketball, 130th nationally, but doing a good job today. This is Courtney Fredrickson, goes up with a shot, will not go down. An offensive rebound, though, for Marcia Howard, who continues to be a presence down low. Outside for Howard, that's a long jumper on the way, falls just short. Off another offensive rebound for McMorris, another shot goes up. Kate Kane pulls down the board. And for Kate Kane, she's got 9 rebounds in this game, 1 away from a double-double.
Big defensive sequence right there for Nebraska to get a miss there.
Sincor will try a 3-ball that's just a little bit too strong. Kate Kane going for the rebound. Instead, it finds Marcia Howard for Wisconsin. Here come the Badgers looking to extend their 6-point lead.
Yeah, margin at 6. The gap could get wider right here. Nebraska needs a defensive stop and a bucket.
About midway through this third quarter. Wisconsin trying to pull away. Fredrickson goes up. Nice dish inside to Howard, and she's fouled on the shots Looks like it was Maddie Simon for Nebraska that got her.
I think it's something that's impossible to ignore here, that Wisconsin has been the more physical team in this game. Great block discipline from Marcia Howard in this game, running right block to left block, and right there picking up a foul on Maddie Simon.
Howard leading all scorers in this game with 18 at the free throw line, where she's a 64% free throw shooter, and she hits the first. 3 new Huskers all checking into the game here.
Yeah, Kissinger, Washington, and Morton, all back on the floor. Nebraska looking for a bit more of an offensive spark.
So 3 new Huskers are on the floor, and the second free throw is up just a little bit off there, and the ball's tipped away and somehow brought in by Wisconsin. It was finally controlled by Suzanne Gilreath. These offensive rebounds piling up for the Badgers. On the outside, this is Fredrickson. Working inside against Maddie Simon. Runs into some trouble, and now a turnover as she was trying to dish it back outside to Gilreath. Instead it found Hannah Whitish. This is Morton, now Washington, who just checked into the game in that platoon slot for Nebraska. Right side Kissinger, Huskers need a bucket. They trail by 7 here, just under midway through the third quarter. Over on the right baseline, it's Maddie Simon driving inside, and a foul is called. Looks like they're going to get Courtney Fredrickson there with a foul, a blocking foul, as we have hit a timeout on the floor. 4:46 to go in the third quarter, with Wisconsin leading Nebraska 35-28. Stay with us. You're watching BTN Plus. 4:46 to go in this third quarter, with Wisconsin holding the 35-28 advantage over Nebraska. Zach Penrice alongside Matt Reynolds here on BTN Plus at Pinnacle Bank Arena. And Matt, very surprising outcome here so far with Wisconsin. Only 2 Big Ten wins. Nebraska's been phenomenal in the Big Ten. They're 8-3, and yet Wisconsin's got the edge.
Nebraska prides itself so much on playing as a team, and that becomes a problem a little bit down the stretch. You know, they're 8-2 in Big Ten play, sure, but when you don't have anybody who can really step in and take over, that can cause you some problems against an upset-minded team like Wisconsin.
Nebraska, a missed shot out of the timeout, and then Wisconsin in transition can't knock down their shot. That was Kayla McMorris that went inside and couldn't get the roll. And here's Nebraska on the other end. They desperately need a bucket.
Hannah Whitish had played every minute of this game so far for Nebraska until Bria Stallworth just came in.
Kissinger went up with a shot with the left hand, and it was blocked away by Abby Lashiski. And then Kissinger got it back and stepped on the end line. We'll take another look at this one.
Frustrating performance for Nebraska on the offensive end, as everything around the rim just getting tapped away. Very nice defensive play right there for Lashiski.
So we'll see if Nebraska might try to go more toward a jump shot mentality offensively, because working inside is not really working so well for them. This is Beverly. Goes down low to McMorris, working up against Simon, kicks it back outside. Under 10 to shoot for Wisconsin. They need to get moving here. Van Leeuwen into the right corner now. Now it goes down low with McMorris, and they had run out of time, but before they do, a turnover. Here comes Nebraska and Bria Stallworth. Much better defense out of the second half for Nebraska so far, as Kissinger goes up with the right hand and is fouled, driving into the lane, and we'll call a foul on the shot. She's going to go to the line for 2.
Taylor Kissinger has shot just 1 3-pointer today. In fact, all Nebraska players are 0 for 8 from beyond the arc, outside of Janae Morton, who's 3 for 5. So that all equates to a 3 for 13 mark from the outside. Nebraska shooting just 23% from downtown. Their best 3-point shooter, Taylor Kissinger, has yet to get going.
Suzanne Gilreath was hit with the foul there. That's her first personal, Wisconsin's second team foul here in the third quarter, as Kissinger knocks down the first free throw. 68% foul shooter this year is Kissinger, and she hits them both. That's big for Nebraska, knocking down your free throws, especially when a whole lot is not working offensively.
Nebraska has not gotten to the free throw line a whole bunch. That's just their 3rd and 4th free throw attempts of the game.
Van Leeuwen with it for Wisconsin. Now it gets over to Marcia Howard. Driving into the lane, she'll kick it back out. Now it's back with Howard, working up against Maddie Simon. This time a kick out is stolen away by Stallworth, who's providing a little spark off the bench here for Nebraska.
And the Nebraska defense turning into sort of a pack line approach, regressing into the lane, being very aggressive and physical with Marcia Howard.
Kissinger, a long 3 ball that just grazes the front of the rim, but an offensive rebound brought in for the Huskers. They get another fresh 30 on the shot clock. Is driving into the lane with Simon. She's fouled again, and she's going back to the free throw line.
You know, Zach, we were discussing it a couple minutes ago that Nebraska might want to change its offensive approach, but when you're not shooting the ball very well, as Nebraska is, just 33%, what do you have to do? Get to the free throw line, and that happens when you drive it inside.
Maddie Simon, 1 of 2 from the line. She took her first 2 free throws back in that first quarter. And the first one of 2 rattles around and does not go in. Can't get the friendly roll there. There's a couple of substitutions here for Wisconsin.
Simon, a very good free throw shooter on the year, 80%. And she's grown up a lot this year, switching from guard to forward, and Amy Williams raves about her being one of the most improved players on this roster.
Splits another pair at the line, does Maddie Simon, so she's got 2 points now along with 4 rebounds. Nebraska has the deficit but cut back to 4, and they're looking for a stop. Meanwhile, Wisconsin has not been able to pull away in this game. They're trying to do so here. This is Gilreath with it. Gets it to Lashiski. Back outside with Howard. She's been the star player for Wisconsin today. Kicks it far corner with Marble. 10 to shoot. Tenacious defense here from the Huskers. Last few minutes. Trying to kick it back outside instead of turnover. Once again, it's Janae Morton. And she forces another turnover, and she's fouled right after she got the basketball. It's going back to Nebraska.
Husker fans, the knowledgeable basketball bunch they are, applauding the defense because Nebraska has really turned up the defensive effort so far in this second half. Wisconsin, all of their last 5 from the floor, now up to 6 turnovers after just 1 in the first half. Wisconsin now on a 3-minute and 3-second scoring drought.
That foul was on Kendra Van Leeuwen. That's the 4th team foul for Wisconsin, so next foul would put Nebraska into the bonus. Stallworth, now Kissinger, 3-ball. It's good! Taylor Kissinger, the 6'1 freshman from Minden, Nebraska, knocks down her first 3 of the day. Timeout, Wisconsin.
When she gets hot, watch out. Taylor Kissinger with her first made 3-ball of the day, and the freshman from Minden turning it on from the outside. Huskers have closed this gap to 1 on a great slip screen from Taylor Kissinger.
Yeah, a couple of trips to the free throw line, Matt, like we talked about, and then they followed up with a trifecta to knock down the long 3. A 6-0 run for Nebraska over the last minute, 27, 2:07 to go here in the third quarter, with Wisconsin still holding that 35-34 lead. And Matt, I think another thing that's worth noting here is that Marcia Howard for Wisconsin has not really gotten a good look in the last few minutes. Why is that?
She has not. Physical Nebraska defense. Like I said before, they're regressing toward that pack line defense, being very physical at the point of attack with Marcia Howard, doubling when they need to, and closing off the baseline. Because when you close off the baseline, those impressive drivers, the players that can drive the ball to the hoop well, can't get around. They're not going to go high side to try and drive.
2:07 to go here in the third quarter with Wisconsin leading Nebraska 35-34. Stay with us. Going to get good here at Pinnacle Bank Arena. You're watching BTN Plus. Wisconsin hasn't scored in the last 3 minutes and 20 seconds. Meanwhile, Nebraska's on a 6-0 run to cut the deficit back to 1. Zach Penrice alongside Matt Reynolds here on BTN Plus. 35-34. Wisconsin still leading, but Nebraska's been crawling their way back into it the last few minutes. Wisconsin still with the basketball here. Kendra Van Leeuwen running the point. Now Marcia Howard, who's been the best scorer in this game. Nebraska switching to a zone here defensively out of this timeout. That's confusing the Badgers here. A 2-3 zone. Outside with McMorris, and she travels. Another turnover for Wisconsin, their 6th of the third quarter after having only 1 in that entire first half.
Amy Williams told us last week that she shares ideas with men's basketball coach Tim Miles, and that 2-3 zone and the 1-3-1 zone concepts that the Nebraska men run out of a timeout occasionally is one of those concepts that the two coaches have shared. Catching someone off guard out of a timeout with the zone defense can often cause a turnover, and that's exactly what Amy Williams' squad did right there.
On the other end for Nebraska, here's a 3-ball from Stallworth. Nope, they call it a 2-ball. Her foot was on the line, so that's just a 2-pointer from Stallworth, but Nebraska has got the lead here.
Nebraska with its first lead of this game. Took about 3 full quarters to get it.
Marcia Howard, though, pulls up for a shot, and it's just a little bit off to this right side, and it will not go in. Nebraska with a chance to extend their 1-point lead now. Let's get past far side for Stallworth, who just knocked down that 3-ball.
8-0 run in the last 2.5.
Outside it goes to Morton, under a minute to play in the third quarter. Janae Morton, now Kissinger. Kicks it back outside with Stallworth. She drives up inside, now dishes it back down to Washington, and now a scramble for the basketball and a turnover.
Nebraska's 11th, but they're first since early in this third quarter.
And Nebraska doing all of this with just one starter on the floor, and Maddie Simon taking their first lead since the opening minute of this game. Goes down low to Marcia Howard, and she's pushed from behind by Darian Washington. That's Nebraska's second team foul. Washington's second personal, and we'll get another look at this call.
Yeah, just a little entry pass right here as Washington did extend that arm. That's going to get you every time, whether there's contact or not. You extend that arm, even for balance, it's going to be a foul call.
Van Leeuwen to inbound for Wisconsin. Under 30 seconds to play in the third quarter. This is a big final 30 seconds here as we will transition to the final quarter of play at PBA. It's a close game.
Nebraska's depth showing so far in this third quarter, finally taking that first lead.
This is Beverly right now with the basketball for Wisconsin. 12 on the shot clock.
12 on the game clock.
Goes down to the corner for McMorris. Now back outside. Now right corner three ball from McMorris is good. That's a big shot for Wisconsin. And that will do it here in the third quarter. Kayla McMorris, the senior guard from Brooklyn Park, Minnesota, with a huge three-pointer to give Wisconsin the lead back as we head to the fourth quarter. Wisconsin leading Nebraska 38-36. 10 minutes to go at Pinnacle Bank Arena. Stay with us. It's going to be a final fun fourth quarter. Stay with us at PBA. We're coming right back on BTN Plus. 1 quarter to go at Pinnacle Bank Arena. Wisconsin with a 2-point edge over Nebraska 38-36. Zach Penrice alongside Matt Reynolds here on BTN Plus. Matt, great third quarter action right there with the three ball being knocked down by Kayla McMorris as time expired.
Yeah, McMorris ends an 8-0 Nebraska run with that three ball that put Wisconsin back up, erased Nebraska's first lead of this game. We'll see how the Huskers respond.
Goes down low to Kate Kane. Gets that shot to rattle around and go down. Nice feed inside from Simon to Kane. She knocks down another shot. She's got 12 in this game, leading the way for Nebraska.
That's the first tie of this game, actually, since very early in this one.
Game's been close, but there haven't been a whole lot of lead changes, but there have been some more recently. It's with Marcia Howard for Wisconsin. Into the right corner for McMorris. Tries another three, and it's pure.
Kayla McMorris trying to pull the upset on the road. Badgers they're playing very well offensively right now, and they're getting a lot from McMorris.
This is Janae Morton with it now, back top at the key with Simon. Working against McMorris, who's hit back-to-back three-pointers. Morton driving, hanging in the lane, gets the shot to go up, will not go down. Kate Kane going for the rebound. Instead, it finds Maddie Simon for Nebraska, puts up with the right hand and scores. Maddie Simon, after the ball pinballed around, she controlled it and scored.
Impressive recognition from Simon right there to realize the 3-on-3 matchup, find her way into the lane, and then not pass it off, because that's tempting to pass it off when you're in a 3-on-3 situation. She found the space in the lane and put up the little floater.
This is McMorris driving left side, puts up a shot once again. It's just a little bit too short. She was trying to shoot it over Kate Kane and left it a little bit too flat. Now it's with Nebraska, and Janae Morton goes down low to Maddie Simon. Turnaround jumper is good. Use the right hook shot. Did Maddie Simon, and she puts Nebraska back on top, 42-41.
Simon once again, 4 points now in this fourth quarter. And as we mentioned earlier in the broadcast, Amy Williams just raves about her, says she's one of the best players on this Nebraska roster, most improved players on this Husker roster after moving to forward in the offseason.
Fredrickson with it. Handoff to Beverly, and the ball's poked away, and a foul called against Nebraska. It's Kate Kane. And for Kane, that is her second personal foul, first team foul against Nebraska in this fourth quarter.
And the second time Kane has committed that exact crime, hedging a little too hard on the screen, reaching over, and gets Beverly on the arm.
Sincor and Eli check in for Nebraska as both Morton and Kissinger head to the bench.
And Nia Beverly, not huge on the stat sheet tonight, just 2 for 4, but has been very impressive as a floor general for Wisconsin, as there's a tie-up as Eli gets her hands in there.
Eli and Beverly had the ball poked away from her. Eli just came into the game and immediately making an impact. A jump ball will stay with Wisconsin. Under 8 minutes to go in this game, a 1-point game. This is Beverly with it, kicks it back outside for Van Leeuwen. Now down low for Howard, who scoots around Kate Kane and scores with the left hand. First time we've called Marcia Howard's name in a while, but she gets back into the scoring column.
She has 21 points in this game to lead all scorers. Great performance for Howard, the junior.
This is Eli on the outside, nothing doing inside as she was looking for Maddie Simon. This is Whitish with it, and she really missed Kate Kane right there, who was wide open down low. Instead, a skip pass far side to Eliley. Almost lost the basketball, skips it back outside. 3-ball for Simon, no good. Rebound brought in by Marcia Howard. And the Badgers will slow things down with 7 minutes to play at Pinnacle Bank Arena.
Nebraska finally looking like the better team on the floor in this game. They're 8-2 in the Big Ten, so obviously playing better basketball than Wisconsin right now. But Wisconsin getting a couple great individual contributions from Howard and McMorris and really staying in this game, staying ahead of this game at this point.
Another foul there against Kate Kane as she extended those arms. We talked about that a few moments ago, extending the arms against Marcia Howard. And that'll be a foul every time. Kane's third, team second in the fourth quarter.
She's movable, but you can't move her like that.
Marcia Howard gets the inbound pass, and now it goes back to Van Leeuwen, who will reset the offense here for the Badgers. Looks over to head coach Jonathan Sippis in his second season for advice on this play call. Now it's back outside with Fredrickson. Looking down low, 12 to shoot for the Badgers. Still trying to work inside for Howard, you'd imagine. Instead, it's with McMorris right now. Step back 3-ball on the way off, misses everything and sails out of bounds. Missed 3 there by McMorris. It's Nebraska basketball.
We haven't seen her a bunch tonight, but how valuable is Jasmine Sincor when she's on the floor? Guarding McMorris, as we said she would early on in this game, and Sincor just an impressive and valuable defensive asset for Nebraska.
Sincor no points in this game, but she's had an effect in different ways as Kate Kane, who has been scoring a lot tonight. She's got 14 now on 7 of 10 shooting. Gets Nebraska the lead again.
Nebraska's just second lead of the game. We'll see if they can keep it this time.
Marcia Howard goes inside, ball fake, but she traveled with the basketball as she was trying to maneuver around Kate Kane. Lost her pivot foot there for a moment, it appeared. So that's another turnover back to Nebraska.
Jonathan Sippis pleading his case to the official on the far sideline. Wanted a foul there as Howard just took an extra step. Sippis said she got bumped, but the ball back to Nebraska nonetheless on Wisconsin's 7th turnover.
Under 6 to play at Pinnacle Bank Arena. Back and forth we've gone throughout this entire fourth quarter. Simon dumps it inside to Kane, and a little push from behind by Howard against Kane. That's another foul against Marcia Howard. Her second personal. That's the first team foul against Wisconsin in this fourth quarter.
Very disciplined defensive team. They've played good defense, but that foul on Howard, just a tough break as Kate Kane trying to jockey for position.
Whitish will inbound it, finally gets it into Kate Kane. Now this is Eliley. Now Whitish pulls up for a long 2. That's no good. Rebound offensively from Eliley. That's a big offensive board for Nebraska, a fresh 30 on the shot clock. Eliley affecting the game in different ways. She hasn't scored, but she's got 4 rebounds.
The Huskers focused a lot on rebounding in this bye-week break. They got out-rebounded by Maryland by 20, even though it was a focus for them going into the game. So what head coach Amy Williams and the Nebraska staff did was, instead of cutting a 30 to 45-minute clip, they just watched the entire first quarter and broke it down. It was a bit unorthodox, but they wanted to improve their rebounding and their play.
Ball was poked away on the other end from Maddie Simon. Another turnover for Nebraska, their 12th of the afternoon. Wisconsin with a chance to get the lead back here. It's Beverly looking inside for Howard, and another foul called against Kate Kane, her 3rd of the fourth quarter, her 4th personal foul. That's the 3rd team foul against Nebraska. Another push against Marcia Howard as we've hit ourselves a timeout on the floor. 44-43, Nebraska with the 1-point edge over Wisconsin with 4:50 to play at Pinnacle Bank Arena. Stay with us. You're watching BTN. Back at Pinnacle Bank Arena, where Nebraska holds a 1-point advantage over Wisconsin. They lead at 44-43. Zach Penrice alongside Matt Reynolds here on BTN Plus. As you take a look at Wisconsin's upcoming schedule, this Wednesday on Valentine's Day is senior day for Wisconsin as they host Rutgers, followed by 2 final road games at Iowa and at Michigan State. A tough little finish there before they head off to the Big Ten tournament for the Wisconsin Badgers as they try to finish off the regular season with some winning ways. And for Nebraska, on the other side of things, Matt, they finish off with most of their games on the road.
Yeah, 3 of their final 4 games on the road, at Michigan State, at Indiana, at Maryland to close things out. Senior day against Penn State wedged in between there. Tough game coming up against Michigan State. They went to Maryland and beat the Terps in the Xfinity Center earlier on this season. That's a tough Michigan State team, but Nebraska, if they finish out strong, can make the NCAA tournament.
Obviously, those are Amy Williams' club aspirations as they're trying to make the NCAA tournament. Once again, as a three ball into the corner from McMorris is good. Kayla McMorris heating up late in this game, her third three in the last few minutes.
She's one of those seniors that'll be celebrating her final game at the Kohl Center in Madison, Wisconsin on Valentine's Day.
4.5 to play at Pinnacle Bank Arena. This is Eliley. Three ball on the way from Kissinger is just a little bit too strong off to the left side. Rebound brought in from the Badgers and Nia Beverly.
Rhythm shot, but it just a bit off balance was Kissinger. Nebraska's got to figure out something offensively and not let any open threes go.
Beverly, right corner, now it goes to Van Leeuwen. Wisconsin slowing things down, looking for a good shot with just over 4 to play and a 2-point advantage. Driving inside is Van Leeuwen, puts up a shot, right hook. It's no good. Rebound corralled by Taylor Kissinger for Nebraska.
A little late shot clock.
Here comes Whitish up ahead to Eliley, puts it up and one. Count the basket and the foul. Nice pass up ahead from Whitish to find Eliley. That's her first bucket of the day, and she's going to head to the line for one more.
And would you believe that's Nebraska's first fast break bucket of the game? Huskers finally figuring it out in transition. Great play from Eliley.
Tied up at 46, and I see Eliley with a chance to get Nebraska the lead again, and does. The 59% free throw shooter, sophomore guard from Colorado Springs, Colorado, puts Nebraska back on top. Only 3 points for her today, but those were 3 big points. Wisconsin needs a response on the other end. Beverly driving right side, and a foul call, blocking foul against Eliley, as Beverly was trying to go around her. That's the 4th team foul against Nebraska. As you see Amy Williams upset with that call. Let's take another look.
Wisconsin now in the bonus the rest of the way as, Eliley was shuffling her feet just a little bit. Beverly may have extended just a tad, but they'll get Eliley on the tough hand of the hip check call.
This is Nia Beverly, freshman guard from Laurel, Maryland with it. Hands it off to McMorris. And back at top of the key for Van Leeuwen. Now Fredrickson. And now Beverly once again. McMorris, step back three, just a little bit strong. Offensive rebound though for Howard as Darian Washington hit the deck and Howard can't finish. Rebound comes to Nebraska, and here comes Hannah Whitish in the big red.
What great post defense right there by Hannah Whitish, staying in her lane, making Marcia Howard go right when she wasn't comfortable with it. An undersized Whitish right there getting the best of Howard.
Kissinger inside, scores off the glass with a nice feed from Hannah Whitish. The lead is 3 for Nebraska, their largest lead of the afternoon.
Huskers heating up. Sippis wants to talk about it. What a great play, great sequence for Nebraska as this pack line defense is turning it all into offense. Kissinger coming across the lane here for an easy deuce.
Yeah, that was a great play from Taylor Kissinger off the feed from Whitish, who's had 2 nice assists in the last 2 possessions for Nebraska as they have a 49-46 lead with 2:51 to go. Matt, starting to look at fouls. It could get pretty critical here in the final 3 minutes or so, and that advantage belongs to the Badgers.
Yeah, Badgers in the bonus the rest of the way. Dicey foul situation for Nebraska because Kate Kane has 3 in this 4th quarter alone, 4 total for the game. Jasmine Sincor also has 3, but yeah, what you're really looking at is the overall foul situation, and can Wisconsin hit their free throws down the stretch? Because more than likely, they will be going to the charity stripe. Just 1 for 2 on those 2 free throw trips today.
Basketball is with Wisconsin. Kayla McMorris will inbound for the Badgers. A lot of fans standing here at Pinnacle Bank Arena. Good packed crowd today, cheering on their Huskers, who are having a phenomenal year. They were 7-22 last year, and this year they're 17-7. They haven't lost a road game yet this year. 8-0 away from Pinnacle Bank Arena. As the ball is poked away from McMorris by Eliley, and they still stay in control, do the Badgers.
That'll take a chunk off the shot clock. Now half of it gone, so 15 seconds to work with, and an offense for Wisconsin that hasn't been very good outside of Howard and McMorris in the later going.
This is Beverly with it. Now to Fredrickson, dumps it inside to Howard, puts up a shot, no good. Right there with her was Darian Washington, tipped out of bounds off of Howard. It's going back to Nebraska.
Howard wanted a foul there on Darian Washington, but nice discipline inside. Darian Washington didn't lean, got maybe a palm on the ball right there, and Howard tips it out. Great defensive sequence underneath for Nebraska, getting back into position after being caught in a bad spot.
Whitish running point as she has most of the night for Nebraska. Just over 2 minutes to play. Nebraska with a chance to make it a 2-possession game. This is Whitish working inside, probing into the lane, puts up a shot with the right hand and will not go down. Just a little bit too strong off the glass. Here come the Badgers with a chance to make it close once again or even tie the game with a 3.
Tough offensive day for Nebraska's leading scorer in Hannah Whitish, just 1 for 7 from the floor.
This is Beverly. Now to Frederickson from the left elbow, a little bit too strong and off, and that ball tipped out of bounds off of a Nebraska player.
It's inside 2 minutes. They can go to the monitor.
I'd be surprised if they don't. This might have hit off of Caleb McMorris. McMorris was right there for Nebraska with Sincor and a little bit of Darian Washington as well, but mainly between McMorris and Sincor. They will take another look at this as we're taking a look as well.
Looks like Sincor's palm and maybe Washington's foot right there. That it could have hit off both. You didn't see really a change of direction in the ball, but this crucial of a possession, 3-point game inside of 2 minutes to go, you definitely have to go to the monitor.
So just 1:45 to go. Nebraska with the lead, 49-46, as we're trying to take a look at a few more angles here of this play and see if we can get a more conclusive look. And it's so hard to tell.
Yeah, if you see closely, it looks like Sincor's palm got right in front of McMorris there, and then it may have gone off Darian Washington's ankle as well. So double tap for Nebraska, and this will probably be going Wisconsin's way, as was the call on the floor. I want to remind you once again that if it is not indisputable video evidence, you can't overturn the call on the floor.
That is very true, and keep in mind what the call on the floor was. It was ruled initially Wisconsin basketball, and from the looks that we've seen, that'll be difficult to overturn for the officials here. Well, this is year 2 for head coach Amy Williams for Nebraska. We talked about that just a few moments ago. 7-22 last year with Nebraska, and this year they're 17-7. A phenomenal turnaround this year as the official ruling is Wisconsin basketball, and I believe that's the right call. But Matt, Amy Williams out of nowhere completely turned this program around a lot quicker than a lot of people thought she could.
Absolutely, and we've talked about it a lot this broadcast. They play with a team-first mentality, team-first, playing for each other, and Amy Williams says that keeps this team focused. Nobody has an ego, nobody cares about who gets the credit or scores the points or makes the plays, but just that the plays are made. I hate to take a vague stance, but they just need to make the plays.
Marcia Howard works inside and gets the and one over Darian Washington. That's a huge bucket for the Badgers. They're a free throw away from tying this game again.
Marcia Howard, 23 points in this game, 11 of 17 from the floor, and heading for just Wisconsin's 3rd free throw of the game.
Are you surprised that it's Darian Washington and not Kate Kane on the floor right now, Matt?
Darian Washington has provided a nice spark. She has not been a liability whatsoever. And Kate Kane racking up fouls. At some point, you can get on a snowball roll in racking up fouls. And that's kind of what Kate Kane has done in this fourth quarter. 3 fourth-quarter fouls. And maybe they don't want to put Wisconsin to the bonus because that they just did with that 5th foul. And now Wisconsin shooting free throws on every foul the rest of the way. Maybe they trust Darian Washington to have a little bit more defensive discipline.
Nebraska head coach Amy Williams wants to talk to her club for just a moment here. Calls a 30-second timeout. 1:33 to go. And that's a big missed free throw on the other end from Marcia Howard because it keeps it so Nebraska stays with the lead, 49-48, Matt. A big final 93 seconds here at PBA.
Yeah, 93 seconds left to go. Nebraska holding on to just their 3rd lead of the day. It's the 3rd time they've taken the lead, and they've held it for about a minute and a half. The Huskers trying to go for their 9th Big Ten win, keep pace at the top of the Big Ten Conference after a year with just 7 total wins.
Kate Kane is back into the game for Nebraska. She's their leading scorer with 14 points and also has 9 rebounds as well. But she's also got those 4 personal fouls, and now we've got a 5-second call as Taylor Kissinger was caught up with the basketball in the backcourt, and another turnover there from Nebraska. That's one of the biggest of the day, their 13th turnover.
That's a rare call, and it's tough for any guard to really have a great clock in their mind about that. If they're trying to make a decision at the top of the key, that's something you don't see called a whole lot.
Definitely a curious call there as Kissinger was just caught in the backcourt as substitution for Nebraska. It's Simon checking in for Taylor Kissinger.
This is something we mentioned at the top of the broadcast. You may see offense-defense substitutions between Taylor Kissinger and Maddie Simon. Although Simon has been good on the offensive end, you need her on defense right now, and you might need Kissinger's offensive 3-point shooting ability.
Wisconsin with a chance to take the lead here with a bucket. Looking down low for Howard was Frederickson, can't find her. Then they dish it back outside for Beverly. 1 minute to play at Pinnacle Bank Arena. Outside it goes Fredrickson. Down to the corner, and she traveled with the basketball. She was working up against Nicaea Ililey. Kicked it to the right corner, and before she did, she traveled.
Yeah, first real mental lapse we've seen from Courtney Fredrickson today, but just shuffled that left foot just a bit. Big turnover for Wisconsin. Their 9th of the game, 8th of the second half. That gives Nebraska a chance to pad a little bit of a lead right here.
As Whitish brings it up the floor, Amy Williams will call another timeout. She wants to talk to her club once more. Definitely don't want to waste any possessions here with 48 seconds to go. Nebraska with the 1-point advantage. Wisconsin has led for 27 minutes and 49 seconds of this game. Nebraska has led for just 7 minutes of this game, but they hold the advantage with under a minute to play. But Matt, we talked about why this game is so close. Mainly it has to do with fast break points, honestly, and the number of turnovers for both sides.
Yeah, turnovers for both sides have played a big factor in this second half, but talking about the coaching job for Wisconsin, this would be one of the better coaching jobs for Jonathan Sippes in his second year at Wisconsin. Overall record with the Badgers, 18-38, came to Madison from Georgetown. Looking to pull off a big upset road win here in Lincoln. Wisconsin just 9-16 on the year, 2-10 in the Big Ten, and they need a win.
This is Whitish. Nebraska looking for the bucket that would extend their 1-point lead. Now it's with Morton. 12 to shoot for Nebraska. Still plenty of time. Still with Janae Morton. Hands it back off to Whitish. Huskers got to get moving here. Whitish driving up into the lane. Wild shot goes up that will not go down. Shot clock turned off, and timeout Wisconsin. Rebound brought in by Kayla McMorris.
All right, 25 seconds left to go, Zach, and one shot opportunity for Wisconsin. Do you take the whole time here?
I would not. I think that in situations like this, hopefully you and I would agree that it's probably the most common thing to take a shot with about 5 or 6 seconds to go in the game. That way, if you do miss, you can immediately foul. And then Nebraska still not in the bonus, though, so you're in a tough spot if you're Wisconsin. It's a unique situation, actually, because Wisconsin only has 2 team fouls, and so if they were to intentionally foul the Big Red, they would not go to the free throw line, Joe. They want to take this shot as soon as you can in case you have to foul them 3 times, which in that case you would.
Badgers coming off, or at least trying to finish off, an incredible defensive performance in this game, holding Nebraska to just 49 points so far, one of the lower point total outputs for Nebraska this season. The Badgers are getting it done on the defensive end. Now they just need to make one shot.
Huskers averaging 70 points per game. They have 49 in this one. Definitely a great job from the Badgers. What will they do? It's Van Leeuwen with it, looking for that screen from Howard. Still Van Leeuwen. Now it's with McMorris. Driving left side, dishes it inside to Howard. In trouble, has to kick it back outside. Only 6 seconds to go. And now a timeout called once again by Jonathan Sippes, as Wisconsin was completely out of control of that possession. With 6.7 seconds to go, it's still Badger ball, and they need a bucket.
Okay, Zach, stop me if you heard this before. One shot now, and it's really all you have with 6.7 seconds left. I think you got one shot to put it up as soon as you pass the ball in, and then go for an offensive rebound and maybe try and get it up there, foul, maybe get one more opportunity. But this is the end of the line for the Badgers.
Yeah, I would assume that intentionally fouling is virtually out of the question now, with you having to foul 3 times in order to put Nebraska at the free throw line. So, like you mentioned, it's pretty much a one-shot mentality here, where that's really your only option, so you might as well just take up all 6 seconds and see if you can get the best possible look.
One shot, full court press steal, perhaps. Definitely an opportunity. You foul right away if you don't get the offensive rebound. Wisconsin in a bit of a tough position here, but I think you've got to have one person taking this shot. I don't think you can get it inside to Howard. I don't think you have that amount of time. Just let Kayla McMorris throw one up.
I'd be shocked if it's not McMorris or Marcia Howard, as we'll see what Jonathan Sippes in his second season can draw up. He was the coach that came from the A-10 school, George Washington, was 93-38 there in 4 years. Hard to go unnoticed when you do that. So Wisconsin hired him and hasn't had the greatest turnout, but only in year 2. Plenty of time to improve, as Wisconsin here is going to have a shot for the win with 6 seconds to go in Pinnacle Bank Arena.
Fans on their feet at PBA. Loud atmosphere, most of the lower bowl filled, and one of the best atmospheres in women's college basketball.
Fredrickson to inbound. Guarded by Maddie Simon. Struggling to get it in, and a 5-second call. Fredrickson couldn't get it in. Great defense right in front by Maddie Simon. And now we're in that situation where they are going to have to intentionally foul.
Big time turnover for Wisconsin as they go offense, defense, substitutions. Nebraska will call a timeout to try and counter that. But what a huge play on the inbounds. Tough break for Courtney Fredrickson, who has had a great game, but just holding the ball too long on the inbounds. Didn't think it took the full 5 seconds, but it did indeed. She was not able to get the ball into Marcia Howard in time.
Yeah, Wisconsin didn't have any timeouts, so there was nothing else that Courtney Fredrickson could do to get that ball in, and right in front of her was both Marcia Howard and Kayla McMorris, and she was not unable to find either of them as that timeout was taken by Amy Williams. Nebraska still has 1 timeout remaining, so if they find themselves in trouble here getting the ball, and they can still call a timeout with 6.7 seconds to go. And this is where the situation gets interesting, because Wisconsin has to foul Nebraska 3 times to put them at the free throw line. Is there enough time to do that in 6 seconds? We'll see.
Definitely not, but I think you have to credit right there Nebraska's relentless switching on the defensive end on that sideline inbounds play, and it turned this game on a 10.
Sincor to inbounds. Gets it into Whitish, and they do intentionally foul there as 1.1 seconds go off the clock. 5.6 to go.
Maybe a little too much there.
They still have to foul 2 more times. Sincor will inbound again.
You've got to switch everything here if you're Wisconsin.
Wisconsin more so going to need a steal here. Sincor to Whitish once more. Another intentional foul. Much more time goes off the clock there.
1.5 seconds off there. And with 3.9 left on the clock, Wisconsin in danger zone.
Another Badger will check in. Abby Lashiski will check in. And Kendra Van Leeuwen will come out, and looks like Wisconsin's going to have a chance to at least put Nebraska at the free throw line here, as Hannah Whitish will inbound now. Sincor has inbounded the last 2 times. Now it's going to be Whitish, but timeout Amy Williams. So use her final timeouts.
Little chess match here going on between coaches, Jonathan Sippis and Amy Williams. Both second-year coaches coming from mid-major schools. Sippis from George Washington, Amy Williams from South Dakota, returning to her alma mater. And what a turnaround she has had. The second best record turnaround, second most game improvement turnaround in the NCAA this year, trailing only Rutgers, also of the Big Ten, who Nebraska beat this year already. Amy Williams, what a coaching turnaround job. 17 wins this season after just 7 a year ago.
Zach Penrice alongside Matt Reynolds here on BTN Plus. We've had one heck of a game here at Pinnacle Bank Arena. Wisconsin has led by as many as 10. Nebraska's largest lead was just 3 in this game, and right now it's 1 with 3.9 seconds to go. And Nebraska with the basketball, and it looked like it was going to be Hannah Whitish that was going to inbound it for Nebraska here, as all they have to do is get it in and accept the intentional foul that Wisconsin would present that would put them on the free throw line with what you would guess would be under 3 seconds to go in this game. It's a big moment here, but also keep in mind, folks, that Nebraska, they're the worst free throw shooting team in the Big Ten, 14th, and they're 327th nationally. Those 2 free throws, if they were to come, would not be a guarantee by any stretch. Here's Sincor to inbound. Gets it into Maddie Simon, and she's fouled.
3.0 seconds left in this one. Really just time for a heave. One-arm heave. What are you thinking here, Zach?
What I'm thinking is that Maddie Simon's the best player that could have been fouled if you're a Nebraska fan. 80% foul shooter for her, as Nebraska as a team is just a 61.9% free throw shooting team. But here's Maddie Simon, and first free throw is up, and good. Rattles it home.
Big time clutch free throw right there. She's just 2 for 4 from the line today, so not her best free throw shooting day by any stretch of her imagination, but a couple big ones right here, and knocks down the first.
She's got 7 points now in this game. I would be expecting nothing less than a half-court heave perhaps from Wisconsin here that will be coming shortly. Second free throw on the way is good. 3-point lead for Nebraska. Wisconsin needs a miracle. Inbound comes to Beverly. Beverly at the horn. It's no good. Nebraska holds on to win. 51-48. Nebraska grabbing their 18th victory of the year with a thrilling victory over Wisconsin.
A lot of moxie shown by Nebraska today as the Huskers overcome a Wisconsin team that led for 28 minutes of this game. Nebraska shooting just 40% in this one, but they pull it out. Gutsy effort from the Cornhuskers today in Lincoln, and they improved to 9-2 in the Big Ten.
For Wisconsin, they fall to 9-17 on the year, 2-11 in the Big Ten Conference. A heartbreaking loss today at Pinnacle Bank Arena as Nebraska improves to 18-7 on the year, 9-3 in the Big Ten. Well, for Matt Reynoldsson and our entire Big Ten Network crew here in Lincoln, Nebraska, I'm Zach Penrice saying so long and good night. Again, the final, Nebraska knocks off Wisconsin 51-48. This has been a special presentation of Big Ten basketball on BTN+.